One of the interesting things for me, actually the best part for me, in doing these stories on a week-to-week basis is the weird way that we find out about some of our subjects. Many of the people that you've met along the way are friends of mine. I've known them for years. I thought they were interesting. I thought they were inspiring, so I wanted to share their stories with you. But since we've gotten going, a number of other people have just kind of fallen into our laps. And when that happens, it's always kind of, I don't know, it makes me feel that somehow God is endorsing what we're trying to do here. In a moment, you're going to meet a guy that I met because we just happened to be in the same sporting goods store at the same time. We'll have his story in just a second, but I want to revisit the issue that we brought up last week, which is why does bad things happen to good people? If you watched our commentary last week, you know we gave you about 8 different answers, all of them from the Bible, but some of them drastically different on that one question. I told you that I had one particular favorite answer. It was from the writings of King Solomon, who legend has it is the smartest man who ever lived. Solomon wrote that after thinking about all these questions, after racing his mind over and over and over, not having any sense of peace, he finally determined at the end to just give it up, to enjoy his life, to drink a lot of good wine and eat a lot of good food and forget about finding answers. You are not going to see any drinking or eating in this report, but to be sure, it is about a guy, a young man who has learned how to enjoy his life. Here now is a stranger, Logan.
To imagine it's coming up on almost 10 years is wild to me because it doesn't feel like it's been that long.
Even if you've never tried it before, it's pretty easy to figure out why people love wakeboarding, why they're so passionate about it. You go 20, maybe 25 miles an hour, and you hold on for dear life. Now imagine doing that with just one hand. That's part of our story, but in a weird way, it's also about golf, because one day I went shopping for drivers, and out of the corner of my eye, I noticed a young man just standing a few feet away. This picture was taken that day, that's my son Brody, next to Logan Aldridge. Logan is used to having his picture taken. He is all over the internet. In fact, we found this video online. It is taken on the exact same lake where something went horribly wrong. We asked Logan to tell us the story.
June 26, 2004 was the day, just like a normal day. Just had the boat in gear, just idling down to our dock. And in doing so, I went to pull in the rope, doing the basic over the thumb, under the elbow maneuver that gives you the perfect circle. I had held my left arm like that and done about 2 loops, looked back and noticed that the rope had drifted underneath the boat when we dropped my friend off at his dock, which happens sometimes. And when it does, you simply cut off the motor, get in there and untangle it from the prop or whatever it may be. Well, in that second, when I noticed that the rope had drifted under the boat, I told my dad, and immediately when I told him, he went to cut off the motor, but that split second in time between me telling him and him cutting off the motor, the prop caught the rope. And this rope is a little different than a typical just leashing rope. It's like a cable almost. Wakeboard ropes are like that. You want zero elasticity in a wakeboard rope, so it's almost as if it's a cable. Has this plastic coating over it as well. So that when it happened, it pulled very hard. With the other end of the rope being connected to the wakeboard tower on the boat, it caused the rope to obviously slip off my thumb immediately and cut down, not cut my arm off, but cut down to the bone. It cut through bicep, tricep, tendons, and ligaments, and main artery right there.
The doctors were able to save his life, but he lost his left arm. And so we go back to wakeboarding, because in fact, Logan went back to wakeboarding. Look what he can do with one arm.
That was huge for me. That was the number one thing for myself, I think, more than anybody else, to prove that I was going to be the same person. I was going to do the same things as I did before, was to wakeboard again. Maybe I wasn't going to do the tricks or obviously the handle passes, but I was going to at least try. I was going to give it an attempt. I was not going to let this accident determine who I was going to be for the rest of my life.
And he is inspiring others to do the same. In this video that we found, Logan is on a boat while a blind wakeboarder is trailing behind. This is not a story of someone who overcomes incredible obstacles to do amazing things. Instead, it's a story about someone who faced those obstacles to continue to be the person he always was. This is a story of stills, and it's told in still pictures because, yes, Logan still wakeboards, and he still runs marathons, and he still plays lacrosse. And as we discovered one afternoon, he still plays golf. We should point out that he's not going to make the PGA Tour anytime soon, because for every good shot he hits, there's another one that...
Way left. Whoo, that's a house.
Well, there's another one that misses the mark. But the point is, Logan isn't plaguing himself with the questions. He doesn't ask why. Instead, he just enjoys a round of golf with some friends.
This will be fun. The number one message that it's always about is your attitude. Now, when you say you got things in your past and how do you get over them, well, you simply have to realize always that there's a plan. You don't know what it is, but God has some sort of plan for you. There's always going to be a plan. When you're at your lowest low, there's always going to be something to look forward to.
And when you embrace that God still has a plan for your life, when you get that attitude down, in life and in golf, it really doesn't matter what your handicap is. We met Logan in April on the golf course. And then about 2 months later, on June 26, it was the 10th anniversary of his accident. On that day, Logan actually wrote a post where he thanked God for allowing him to lose an arm. It was very an interesting perspective to see. I think when you embrace Solomon's philosophy and Logan's philosophy that it's pointless to ask questions, something amazing happens. You're freed up. Because what you're letting go of is this sense of entitlement, that this was the way that life should have been. Because as long as you're holding on to that, you can never embrace the way life actually is. Logan's got that down, and of course so did Solomon. Next week, we're going to look at another answer that comes from the Bible on this riddle of why does bad things happen to good people. And it comes from the writing of Paul, who reminded us that sometimes we go through horrible things so we can have compassion for others. Nobody understands that more than another complete stranger who I recently met and bumped into. Her name is Claudia, which coincidentally is also the name of this pink fire truck. Claudia uses the fire truck to bring a little compassion to those who are suffering from cancer.
I tell women you can have your pity party, but God and prayer is really what's going to get you through everything.
Claudia is next week. We hope you'll come back for that. I'm Doug Wahl in Wilmington, North Carolina. God bless.